chubby, keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, yummy.
25% less sugar, chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome to our first episode of C Results here on IBN TV. I am Ijaz, Sir Ijaz or Mr. Ijaz Ramsahai, and I will be your maths teacher as we prepare you at home for the SEA exams which are coming up in 2020. We know that there's not a lot of time, so we're going to try to cover as much work as possible. A few words about the reason and the purpose behind the show. Some of you all may have already been aware, some of you all may have just been watching IBN, and lo and behold, this new program is on the air, right? We are aware that a lot of our kids, they struggle sometimes with the weight and the expectation of this SEA exam. It's very frustrating, it can be very intimidating, and we really want to give our youth the kind of assistance and help that would be able to take them a bit further along in their preparedness and in their confidence. So we are aware that some parents or some families may not be able to afford to send their kids to traditional lessons. Some parents might be able to, but they're very strapped for time and scheduling is a problem. And we want to be able to fill the gap for those who aren't able to. And even those who are able to and they have the time, they're at home, you know, parents might be at home by now, you've already picked up the kids, you're at home with your family, and you want to partake in some education. Parents, this would be a very invaluable tool, a very invaluable time spent in understanding what your child is doing in school. So we're not going to make it too heavy today. We're going to start with a very basic topic. I'd like to encourage you all to follow us and to like our page on Facebook. C Results is the same name of the program. And there you'll have updates on activities and on assignments being posted. But in addition to that, we've actually created a page on Edmodo, which is something I'll talk about later on in the program, where the students would be able to engage in some assessments and in some quizzes that will help them to benefit and to demonstrate or to test themselves on the knowledge that we would be trying to impart in the coming weeks, inshallah. So without further ado, I want to take you all now into some of the elements of the Maths SEA paper. I know some of you all may not even be aware of how the paper is structured. I know a lot of you all will be as well. But for the benefit of those who don't know, we're going to start examining what exactly this SEA maths paper is all about. So let's do that. Okay, so the paper is actually 75 minutes long, and it consists of 45 questions. 45 questions, and these questions are delivered or assigned over 3 different sections, right? That's the first thing to note. So you have 75 minutes. It's not a lot of time. It is enough if you're well prepared. However, it requires practice to be able to get this done in the time frame and to get it done accurately. All right? In the section 1, the first section, there are 20 questions. We have 20 questions in the first section, and those questions are awarded 1 mark each. These are typically questions of a lesser difficulty, although some of them can be quite tricky at times. And we want to make sure that we get the maximum allotted marks in section 1 no room for error. This could be the difference between you getting into that school that you really desire getting into and you just missing out, right? So we want to maximize those marks in the section 1. Then, of course, we have the section 2 with a further 20 questions. And in this section, the difficulty is amped up a bit, so the marks allocated would be a bit more, and 2 to 3 marks each. And then we have, finally, in section 3, we have 5 questions, and these are the questions that really test your mettle, right? So this is the basic structure of the paper. In addition to this, there are different strands of mathematics that are tested within this paper, and the one that is tested the most, or the one that has the most number of questions, is the strand called number, right? So today we're going to get started off with number, but I'll just walk you through the different strands and the question allotment in the SEA paper. For the number strand, there are 22 questions in total. Remember, we said that the paper has 45 questions. So this is roughly 1/2 of the bulk of questions in your paper. In section 1, the number questions are questions 1 to 10. And then in section 2, we have the questions 21 to 30. And in the section 3, we have a further 2 questions, which are questions 41 and 42. So it's very important that we master number. It's a very wide topic. There are a lot of different subcategories or subheadings, topics within the ambit of number. And we're going to familiarize you with all of them, inshallah. Now, point of note, because the exams are just around the corner, and you all would have been in school now since first year all the way up, we're hoping, inshallah, that you have some level of background knowledge. You know, of course, we're going to be here to remedy whatever deficiencies that you may have, but we will assume that you have some knowledge, at least up to the end of Standard 3. It will not be structured in the way that your typical class in school would be, that we cover topics and then we rigorously test the topics because of the time frame that we're working in. We're just going to have to touch on each topic, try to deliver as much practice as we can within the program, as well as via our Edmodo page, where you can test yourself at the end of the program. We're going to give you roughly a week after each program to complete the assignment for that week. There might be some lessons where we may not necessarily assign something, but of course, for the parents and not the kids, we're trying to discourage the kids in SEA class from being on Facebook and so on. The parents can have a look there for updates, and we would encourage you parents to sign your kids up for the Edmodo page and to keep abreast of everything. You're going to monitor the Edmodo page and you're going to monitor the Facebook page, inshallah, and you'll be informed and in the know as to what is assigned and when it's expected, right? We hope to, inshallah, be able to boost the confidence of the students by highlighting those who would have done well in our assignments. Today alone, we actually had a number of people already registering for the class on Edmodo. One willing soul even took 2 of the tests, and they didn't do as well as I would have hoped, but that means that our purpose here is a real one, you know, to, inshallah, bring the level up. So that's fine, that's no problem. Making mistakes is part of life, and that's how we learn. So we want to make the mistakes now before we get into the exam room, where we'll make the least amount of mistakes, inshallah, right? So carrying on with our paper, once we're done with the number, we'll take a look at measurement. In the strand of measurement, we have 9 questions, and we have 4 questions in section 1. We have 4 questions in section 2, as well as 1 question in the 3rd section, accounting for 9 questions. So this is measurement, and we'll get into the measurement in subsequent programs. Of course, there are a number of topics here as well. It's not just one topic. And the next strand we have is geometry. we have 7 questions in geometry, 3 questions in section 1, 3 in section 2, and 1 question in section 3, for a total of 7 questions. And that brings us to our last strand that is tested and that is expected to be learned throughout your primary school education, which is statistics. And again, we have 7 questions. We have 3 in section 1, 3 in section 2, as well as 1 in section 3. So that concludes our basic rundown of the paper's structure, right? So I hope that sheds some light for those of you who are wondering, well, what is this SEA paper really about? I know some of your parents out there don't have a lot of time. You're working very hard to provide for the family and to ensure that your child has every opportunity that they can to succeed. And we are here to help you, inshallah. So we begin today with number. And another thing for my class, or for my segment of the program, I should say, I will not be doing all the topics sequentially. I want to keep it interesting, keep it fun. We don't want to spend a whole lot of time. Again, you all would have, you kids out there I'm speaking to now, would have sat in your classroom for a number of years for Standard 4. By the way, we do encourage Standard 4 students as well to tune in, right? Because this will give you an edge for when you go up into Standard 5. And then your teachers there would have been working assiduously to deliver the curriculum within the time frame. So we don't need to necessarily reinvent the wheel or to redo every single thing that you would have learned in a sequential basis. We're going to mix up the topics. We're going to deal primarily in the next coming weeks with section 1 type questions, but we're going to be doing questions from all of the strands. Like we said, we want to get the maximum 20 marks from that section 1. So we'll keep it fun. We'll keep changing up the topics a little bit until bit by bit we'll have all the topics down for section 1, inclusive of the number, the measurement, the geometry, and the statistics, right? So today our focus is on place value, right? So the decimal system is the system of numbers that we use in our everyday lives, right? We use this system to count. We use this system to calculate. It's also the system that our finances are based on, our money, our currency, and so on, right? It's called the decimal system or the denary system, right? And it's also referred to as base 10, okay? So important to note, decimal, yes, don't get scared. You know, from the time we start talking about fractions and decimals, a lot of people get panicky. I know some of you parents might be at home there and you're starting to sweat already. Don't worry about it, right? Decimal system doesn't only have to deal with points. Of course, we're going to deal with the decimal point and what does that mean, and decimal fractions and what that means. But even all the numbers before the decimal point that we're accustomed working with and that we like to work with fall under this base 10 system, alternately called the decimal or denary system, right? So bear these terms in mind. You just might be tested on it. And so the digits that we use range from 0 to 9, right? We have the digits 0 to 9, and those make up all of the numbers that we can imagine or that we can come up with in this decimal system. The digits will always be between a 0 and a 9 in the different place or position within the numeral, right? So that's what place value is. We're going to look at these digits that are occupying the different positions within the numeral and try to get a feel for what those digits mean. How do we interpret them? How do we read these numbers? And this is a very critical skill, not only for school, not only for SCA. This is a life skill, because when you're making purchases, when you want to do anything in life that requires any kind of mathematics behind it, you're going to have to understand how to interpret these numbers, right? So we started from the foundation today, which is place value, right? And we can use this decimal system to write numbers from the very, very small, to the very large and everything in between. Okay? So as you can see now on this slide here, each digit within a number, each digit within a number occupies a position or a place which has a value. Okay, so each place or each position within a number has a value. Okay, the same digit in a different place within a number will carry a different value. All right, the same digit within a different number will carry a different value. Right, so just to demonstrate, we know that, or we should know that the number 9, the number 90, and the number 900, they all have 9s. But do those 9s mean the same thing? No, it doesn't. Right? How do we know that? Because within this system, each position or each place within the number occupies a different place value. Right? Now I know this will be revision to everyone because you all would have been doing this for a long time, ever since the lower primary school, right? But it is tested, and you would be surprised that even students who have come out of the primary school system have not fully grasped this at times, right? We have the HTO, which are your ones or your units. Then we have the tens, and we have the hundreds, right? So this 9 here occupies a place value, or the place value of ones. All right? And this 9 occupies a place value of tens. And we have here, this final 9 occupies the place value of hundreds. Now, just a point to note, I don't have the most fantastic handwriting anyway, but we are writing on a very state-of-the-art smartboard here, so it doesn't quite 100% translate to our everyday handwriting, so bear with us. We'll try to make it as legible as possible, right? So these are hundreds, tens, and ones, and if you notice, as we move from right to left, and between each position or each place within the numeral, the value increases 10 times. So we go from 1 to tens, and from tens to hundreds, each time increasing 10 times, each place value as we move from right to left. Okay? So, right, as we just said, in the decimal system, you will notice that place value increases 10 times as we move from right to left, and the place value decreases 10 times as we move from left to right. Okay, that's when we get into the dreaded decimal fraction zone. But don't worry, inshallah, by the time we're done with this course, you all will be no longer afraid of the decimal fraction, neither student nor parent, right? So, great. We're going to jump right in now into some practice. And just to let you all know, you all are free to call in for these questions if you want to offer an answer or a solution. I'm going to ask for the lines to be opened up now, and those you can see the numbers to call the studio: 663-8373 and 645-4426. You can call us and you can offer a solution, right? So in the meantime, I'll be working on it. Feel free to interrupt with a call if you have an answer to give, right? So, state the place value of the underlined digit in the number 357,921. Now, a common mistake that's made, okay, is that when we are asked the place value, we actually give the value of the digit that's underlined. And that is going to earn you a big 0, right? And we want to avoid those zeros unless they're asking you the place value of a 0 within a question, right? So, what does this 5 mean? How many digits does this numeral contain? We have 6 digits, right? All the digits happen to be different digits in this question, okay? And we said, okay, so we have a caller on the line. Hello? Okay, can you please lower the volume on your TV set? Assalamu alaikum. Caller, are you there?
Yeah, the answer is 10,000.
I'm still getting a lot of feedback on this call. So, all right. So we'll give that caller an opportunity to call back if they are able to reduce the volume on their set. Sorry about that, caller. I really have to request you guys that we do want your participation, and we applaud that young boy or girl who just attempted to call us for their efforts. Just remember to turn the volume down and listen to me on the phone while we speak, right? Not via the TV. So, right. Dealing with this digit here now, this numeral, sorry. And we are concerned with this 5, this number 5 that is underlined. Okay. What is the place value? So, I'm going to jump in now. We have our ones. We have our ones. We have tens. We have hundreds, right? What comes next? After we've exhausted the ones and the tens and the hundreds, right? And again, we have another call, another brave caller on the line. Remember to lower the volume, please. And hello, caller. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program.
Hello?
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 Hi.
I have the answer for the question.
Okay, first of all, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Sherwin Baiju calling from Taruba.
And what school do you attend, sir?
St. Joseph Terrace Private School.
Okay, excellent. And what is your answer to this question?
Tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands. Fabulous. Well done, Sherwin. Thank you so
thank
much
you.
for your call. Congratulations. So, right, we have some crack shots already watching the program. All right. We know there's a little bit of revision, but we want to encourage you as much as possible to call in. Great. He said that the answer is tens of thousands. And that is very correct. Okay, so we have the ones, we have the tens, we have the hundreds, then we have the thousands, we have the tens of thousands, and we have the hundreds of thousands. So as he correctly stated, the answer to this question is not 50,000. The answer to this question is not 50,000. We are interested in knowing what the place value is. The place value is the value of the position within the numeral, right? And we go, as we said, in increasing orders of 10 from right to left. So that takes us from ones to tens to hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands. Okay, well done. Thank you so much, caller. We're going to move on to another question now. So we have here yet another question that is asking us for the place value, and I deliberately included one with a decimal in there just to demonstrate how it is we increase and we decrease the values as we move from right to left and left to right, as the case may be. Okay, so we have again our ones, and okay, we have a caller again. Before I give the answer away, hello, assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon.
I would like to answer number 2, please.
Sure, and what's your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Adrian Jagannath, and I am from Rashad Agustin Barakpur.
Okay, awesome. So we have Barakpur on the line. And Barakpur, can you tell me what is the place value of the underlined digit in this number?
The place value is 10.
Excellent. The place value is tens. Thank you so much for calling. You are a star. You are a champion. The place value is tens, right? We have our hundreds, our tens, and our ones. Parents, I hope you all are feeling mighty proud of your young ones for calling in and for being so brave. All right? We have the hundreds, we have the tens, and we have our ones in increasing 10 times the place value, that is, as we move from right to left. But what about when we move from left to right? It decreases. We go from hundreds to tens, tens to ones, and then we go from ones to tenths. T-H-S, tenths, right? And then we go from tenths to hundredths, hundredths with a E-T-H-S. All right? So think of it like this. We have we have the hundreds, we have the tens, we have the ones, and then as we move along, you're going to get 1 over 10 now, and 1 over 100. That's how we end up with the tens, and we end up with the hundreds, okay? Right, so I wrote that in that manner so that it would fit. Maybe I could still have it fit. Right, hundreds, tens, ones. Then we have our tenths and our hundreds. So thank you so much, caller, for helping me out with that question. And we're going to move on now to yet another question, right? And this time we're going to be dealing with something called expanded notation. Expanded notation, right? How are we going to deal with this question? We will tackle it right after this break, inshallah. So we're going to take a short break now, and we'll come back with question 3.
Chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors. Drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, yummy.
25% less sugar, chubby. Be active, be healthy. Drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar, chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, yummy.
25% less sugar, chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Let me hear you sing. Got to have my Viva, water but so much better. Got to have my Viva, water but so much better.
Viva sparkling flavored water. Water but better.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to See Results here on IBN. Again, I am your math teacher or math tutor, Ijaz Ramsahai. And we are dealing with the topic of place value today, which falls under the strand of number parents, right? We're dealing with some section 1 type questions. Previously, we had described the structure of the paper and what to expect. And for those of you there watching at home right now on TV, also note that this program will be aired every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 5 p.m. inshallah. We're going to be covering the 3 topics that are tested for SCA, which are math, English, language arts, and creative writing. And if you're not able to be at home and to watch it online, on the cable, on TV, you can watch it online, where we have right now actually a live stream going on our C results page. And I noticed that we have a caller on the line, and I'm going to take this caller. This caller is eager to answer the question. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to explain how we arrive at the answer. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Say the answer.
Hi, what's your name, please, and where are you calling from?
Hi, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Hi,
I
caller.
am Yusuf Naveen.
Sorry? Please repeat that.
I am Yusuf Naveen.
Hey, assalamu alaikum, Yusuf. How are you? How are you, my friend? This is my little nephew, ladies and gentlemen, calling to give us for us an answer today. He is preparing for SCA next day, inshallah. So I know that he's going to get this one correct. Yusuf Naveen, tell us the numeral that I'm to write for this particular question. Go ahead.
The answer to this question is 40,304.
40,304, but okay, digit by digit, tell me what to write. First digit.
4,
Yeah.
0,
Right.
3,
Okay.
0, 4.
40,304, as you correctly said. Well done, sir. And you can check me at home later for a high five, right? Well done, congratulations, and thanks for calling. Okay, so young Yusuf said that the answer is 40,304, and the numerals are 4034. Okay, now explanation time. For those of us who might be a little bit unsure as to how to approach this question, and for some of you parents who've been out of school for a long time and never have to think about these things again, on this level at least, how do we come up with such an answer? Okay, so it's quite simple actually. We're going to do up a little place value chart. So we have our ones, we have our tens, we have our hundreds, good? Then we have our thousands, our tens of thousands, and we have our hundreds of thousands. All right. So, and this would account for all of our thousands, right? We have 3 digits within the space or the place of the thousands place value. Now in the expanded notation, it's quite easy to tell where in a numeral a digit has to go. All right, we could write it from right to left in this case. All right, that might make it in such a way that you won't get mixed up and you won't write the incorrect thing. Okay, so we can write from the right to the left. And we have 4 multiplied by 1 in brackets. 4 multiplied by 1 in brackets. So what do you think that means? That means that this particular digit is going to go under the ones column, right? Because it's 4 multiplied by 1. So we put down a 4 there. That is our first digit within the numeral. Okay. Next, we look for the tens. If there are any tens in this numeral, we are going to see in a bracket some number multiplied by 10. Is that there? No, we don't have anything multiplied by 10. And if we don't have something, or the absence or the lack of something implies a certain digit in mathematics, which is the dreaded 0. And it's dreaded for us because we don't ever want to see a 0 on our mark sheet, right? We want to only get, the only time we allow zeros is when we have hundreds. A 1 followed by 2 zeros, inshallah, right? So we have no tens. Next in our expanded notation, we have 100, right? Some number, in this case a 3, multiplied by 100. So we come back to our place value chart, or place value table, and we have here now, under the column 400s, we're going to put this digit 3, okay? So far, so good with this numeral. Then we have thousands next. Do we see anything multiplied by 1,000 within our brackets? No, the answer is no. We have nothing multiplied by single thousands, right? So again, where we see a lack of, we're going to put a 0 to represent the digit at that place value, okay? And finally, we have a 4 multiplied by 10,000. We have a 4 multiplied by 10,000, so we're going to put a 4 here, and that would be the end of our numeral. We don't have anything multiplied by hundreds of thousands, nor do we have anything further along in the millions, right? So this is our numeral, and as Yusuf correctly read it, 40,304, but when we express it in numerals, we know we're going to have a 4, a 0, a 3, a 0, and a 4. Okay, great. So thank you, that was well done. Appreciate the calls, keep them coming in. And now we have yet another expanded notation, and this time we have our decimal fractions. We have our decimal fractions. How are we going to treat with that? And I invite some brave student now to call. Please call if you have an answer for this question. In the meantime, we can have a look at it. What do we see going on here? We have a 6 by 100 plus a 8 by a 10 plus 9 by 1 over 10 plus 5 by 1 over 100. How do we write this as a numeral? And I notice that we have a caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, caller, to the program. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you? What's your name?
Josiah Edwards.
Okay, welcome to the program. And where are you calling from?
San Juan.
San Juan in the house. I am from San Juan, so it's a great pleasure to have you here with us today.
Thank you.
Can you tell us how to write this numeral based on this expanded notation?
Okay.
Yes.
So the first digit will be 6.
Okay.
Then 8.
Right.
Then point.
Okay. So before we put the point,
Yeah.
we're actually missing something. So we have the
Sorry,
6.
a 0 because you have no 1s.
Excellent work. Excellent work. And then you said the correct thing after that. What comes after the 0?
The point.
The point. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Tell me what's next.
The 9.
The 9.
Then after the 9 is a 5.
Very, very, very good. Very well done. Your name, is it Josiah, you said?
Josiah.
Josiah. Okay. Thank you so much for your call. Well done. Appreciate the call. And we hope that you will be attempting our assignment that's going to be given on Edmodo. As a matter of fact, it's already been posted there. And in a few minutes, I'm going to show you all how to access that actually. Parents, please pay attention because we want you to be the ones creating the accounts. There are student and parent accounts, but at this age category, I would say that the parent should just create a student account unless you really feel the need to create a parent account as well, and you kind of have control over when the student accesses it via the student account. Cell phones can be very dangerous things for young children, as well as tablets and laptops. We know that there's a lot of crazy activity taking place online. So I'd really appreciate it actually if you all create the student account for your child, log in and allow them to do the exercises with your supervision so that they don't do the wrong things while online, right? Bear that in mind, parents. And now we're going to give a quick explanation about how to answer this problem, and then I'll give a little overview about the Edmodo, right? So, good. We had the decimal fraction for the first time in the expanded notation problem. All right. So this is our first here on the show, and again, let's drop our place value column. Right. We have our ones, tens, hundreds. Good. And well, we don't actually have any thousands, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands, but I'm just going to put it there for now since we discussed it a few moments ago. And then beyond the point now, which is what lies to the right of our ones, right? We have our point, and then we have our tenths, right? And we have hundreds. And we can continue getting smaller and smaller, right, in increments of tens, multiples of 10, right? So what do we have here? We have, I like to go from right to left. That way we don't make the error of missing out the ever important zeros in between, okay? We have 5 by 1 over 100, which gives us our 5 here. We have our 9 by 1 over 10, which gives us this 9. We have our point, right? Do we have any ones? Do we have anything multiplied by the number of 1 within our brackets? The answer is no. So therefore, what are we going to do? We're going to put a 0 there, okay? Then in our tens column, we have the number 8. So we put down an 8, and we have 6 by 100. So ultimately, that gives us an answer of 680.95, as Josiah accurately said. All right, so I just want to take a couple moments now to explain briefly about Edmodo, but before that, we're going to take a short break, and I'll be back and I'll explain how it is you're going to get onto Edmodo. We'll be back in a few.
For the everyday lowest prices on all grocery items, trust Low Cost Supermarket for the widest variety of quality products at low prices. Freshly picked fruits and vegetables, healthy products for your well-being, high quality meat cuts, and a warm and friendly service. Low Cost Supermarket, Southern Main Road, Cunupia.
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته. O Allah, owner of this perfect call and owner of this prayer to be performed, grant Muhammad the right of intercession and superiority, and send him to the best and highest place in paradise which you have promised him.
And welcome back to See Results. I'm actually very near the end of my segment for today. So on Thursday when we have maths again, I will continue with the place value before moving on to the next topic that I have carded for us to do, inshallah. Right? So now that you've performed your Maghrib Salah, you might feel refreshed and ready to do some more work before we wrap up. And I'm going to take this opportunity to actually explain to you how the Edmodo works. All right. So, okay, so it's quite simple actually. What you want to do is that you want to visit www.edmodo.com, edmodo.com. All right, and once there, you will have the opportunity to create an account. All right, you'll have several options. You'll be able to create an account. Or you'll be prompted to create an account either as a teacher, a student, or a parent. All right. Now, parents, I'm asking you all again, because of the age category of the students that we'll be dealing with, create an account for a student that you will supervise so that you can supervise your child while they actually interact with the computer or your smart devices. Right? Instead of traditionally creating a separate parent account that's more geared towards the older kids, right? I would very much appreciate it if you all could monitor their time spent on these devices, because they can create a lot of havoc in your child's lives, as well as distract them from the goal, which is really here to see results with see results, right? As we would like to say, as we say. So on our Facebook page, See Results, there is this image posted, as well as if you look at the comments on this post on our Facebook page for See Results, there's a link where if you want to register your child on the very device that you're browsing Facebook on, if that will be the device that you think you're going to have your kid use, there's a link there that you could click that would take you directly to this sign-up page. Right? Alternatively, you're going to use the edmodo.com website on your device or computer of choice. Okay? Then you're going to get started as a student. All right? And then you will be prompted, or there will be an option for you to enter a class code. The class code here, I'm leaving it open for as long as possible. We want to get as many people participating as possible. And the course code is actually CCE J6E, all in common letters. And once there, you will be taken to something that's very reminiscent of Facebook. There will be a timeline and you'll see posts. There's a post pinned to the top explaining what the page is. And you will see two posts, one from myself and one from Miss Nyla, who will be taking over very shortly as we commence the English language arts. Right? And we have two quizzes posted. Now, the deadline for those quizzes are actually 1 week from today, which is next week, Monday at 4:59 p.m. And because we didn't cover all of the content for today, you actually will have an opportunity after we wrap up on Thursday. You can do it then, or as I can see, some of the callers who called in were quite eager, quite knowledgeable. If you want to try your hand at it before, but remember, once you submit your results or submit your answers, that would be that attempt for that quiz. So you can either hang on for Thursday when I wrap up my session. Miss Nyla may finish her session today within her time, and you might want to do hers as well. But the thing is that you have an entire week. So even if you don't get done today, you will be done by the next session, inshallah, and you can feel free to participate in the quiz. And for those of you who get full marks, I will be giving you a special mention. And maybe, inshallah, as time progresses, we'll be able to organize some little prizes for you, for those of you who stay dedicated and stay doing the quizzes and attain a high level, right? That's okay. You can make a mistake now and then. You may not get total every time, but we do encourage you to try. We do encourage you to participate as much as possible in this program so that you can gain as much benefit. Parents, you might learn a little something too. You might revise a little something along the way. please guide your kids, supervise your kids again. We don't want to encourage the kids to go down the wrong path on these devices, right? So you'll monitor them, please. Let them do the assignments, and we will give you the feedback. We will let you know how you've done. I'd like to commend those who had already registered for the course even before, which was earlier today when I made the post public. And keep participating and keep viewing. Also, you don't necessarily have to access Edmodo via the website. You could just download the Edmodo app. There is an Edmodo app available for Apple, for Android, and for Microsoft devices. So you can download the app to your device, and you can follow the same registration procedure, enter the appropriate class code as we have up there. Again, it's there also for you parents. You can go and view it on the See Results page. There is even a link that you can click in the comments that could bypass all of this and take you straight to the sign-up page if you would like to register your child on that very device. Okay, so I hope that that was clear. I hope that you all benefited today. I'd like to thank all of our callers for calling in and for participating, and I'd like to thank all of our sponsors and for IBN for putting on this great show. And we hope, inshallah, that it would be of great benefit to you, and we look forward to having you every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 5 p.m. inshallah. We're doing maths, we're doing creative writing, we're doing ELA. Not all three every day. You will get the schedule. I'll put it up on Facebook for the parents as well. And we look forward to having you each and every week, inshallah. And that's about it for me for today. We're going to go have a short break now, and we'll be back at 6 with English Language Arts with Miss Naila Shah. I have been your math teacher, Ijaz Ramsahai, and thank you for viewing.
Keep refreshed with Oasis Premium Purified Water. Now available in more thirst-quenching options. 330 ml, 600 ml, 1.5 liter, and 5 liters. Choose the size that fits you best. Grab one today.
Need medical assistance? Come check us out at Ultimate Medical Clinic. We offer a wide variety of medical treatments. Why live in pain and suffer with wounds and ulcers?
Ultimate Medical Clinic also provides laser therapy for pain relief and wound healing.
We also treat arthritis, knee, neck pains, diabetic neuropathy, diabetic foot sores, psoriasis, eczema, and many more health conditions. Call us today to schedule your appointment, 665-1188, or visit us at 111A John Street, Montrose, Chaguanas.
I'm a cool kid, you're a cool kid, we are cool kids, are you a cool kid? Every day I want it, I need to drink lots of it, full of fruit, vitamin C, give me lots of it. My imagination is growing and so am I. I'm getting big, so give me fruit of cool kids, it's so juicy, so I could touch the sky.
Become a cool kid now by visiting www.fruiticoolkids.com.
Sheikleisha Limited, the Caribbean's largest manufacturers of plain and printed paper bags, leaders in plastic bags, vermicelli, split piece powder, and greaseproof paper, ideal for doubles, french fries, and sandwiches. Supplying stores nationwide. For quality products, trust Sheikleisha Limited, 665-3336.
can be viewed on the go now with the Airlink TV app for Google devices. Simply go to the Google Play Store, search for the Airlink TV app. Download the app, click on the link and fill out the form. The account activation will be emailed or texted to the user. It's safe as no credit card is needed. The first 30 days are free and you can subscribe and receive a box for your TV to stream the same content.
High blood pressure is as dangerous as an overpumped balloon. Measuring your blood pressure every day can save you from risk of high blood pressure. MicroLife fully automatic upper arm blood pressure monitor with stroke risk detection. MicroLife AFib screens for atrial fibrillation while taking your blood pressure. High blood pressure and atrial fibrillation are both considered controllable risk factors for stroke. If AFib is present during blood pressure measurement, the AFib icon is displayed flashing at the end of the triple measurement. Once 3 measurements are complete, the measurement data are shown on the display. MicroLife, a partner for people, for life.
Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, and thank you for joining me right here on IBN with C Results. I'm your host Nyla, and I'll be taking you through the next 50 minutes discussing about our ELA paper for the upcoming 2020 SE exam. Now, before we go into the paper itself, I would just like to go through the paper, the structure of the paper, and talk about all the different aspects of it. Right? Now, this program is geared towards the Standard 4 and the Standard 5 pupils. However, we do encourage Standard 3 pupils to tune in, and parents, of course. Now, this is a great opportunity for parents to join us because sometimes, you know, your lives are so busy, you don't always have a chance to sit with your child and see what is happening in the classroom. Or even if your child do gets a paper and they come home, you know, and you yourself sometimes struggling with these questions, wondering, how are we going to answer these questions when I myself don't even know, you know, properly how to complete the paper. So this is for you and your child, you know, so both of you can sit together and work it out, help one another, right? We want the best for your child for the upcoming 2020 exam. As you know, SEA is on April the 2nd of next year, which is a mere 19 weeks away. Time is very short, it's very limited, we have absolutely no time to waste, right? So this program, we are going to help you, you know, on the upcoming weeks, to get you prepared for what's in store. So let's just take a look here, right? We are going to do a breakdown of the ELA paper. Now, in doing this, we are going to set up an app. It's already actually set up for you, where you would be able to access it through Facebook or the app itself, which I will later give you some more information on. So here's a chance for your child to use their technology, use their devices to help them learn. Yes, they are in a comfortable environment, they're at home, and here's a chance for them to use their technology to, you know, to advance their knowledge, right? They have a chance to test it out, go online, do a quiz, right, and see how well they are performing after viewing the program and listening to what we have to say, right? So let's just go into the breakdown of the paper. Here, the paper consists of 2 sections. Section 1, which is task 1, 2, and 3, and you have section 2, where you have your non-fiction and your fiction passage, poetry, and graphic. Today, we are going to be starting with section 1, task 1. Now, I'm not sure how many of you parents have seen the actual booklets that they get in the classroom that they practice. This is actually how the booklet looks on the day of the SEA exam, right? It's actually in the form of a booklet, and it's broken into sections with these individual tasks. And students are allotted 75 minutes in which they are given to complete this paper. It's crucial that you use your time wisely to do this paper as well as check over, which is really important. So here we have the distribution of marks for the ELA paper, right? In section 1, we have 6 items, and they will be allotted 12 marks. When we start section 1 shortly, I will show you where those 6 items are and the 12 marks, how they are distributed. And then in task 2, which is punctuation and capitalization, is allotted 6 marks. That is the second topic that we will be doing maybe tomorrow. And in the third task in section 1, we have grammar, which is also 12 marks. In section 2 now, you have your reading comprehension, you have non-fiction or fiction passages, and you have your graphic, right? Later on, I know a lot of you are eager to get into the comprehension. You may not like the comprehension the most, but comprehension is very tricky. You know, it's really tricky when you're dealing with comprehension, answering questions. I'm going to show you how to answer these questions. Where do we get the stem of the questions from? How these answers evolved. Sometimes it's very difficult for you to get a full 3 marks for a question, or 2 marks, or even sometimes 1 mark. So I know this is very pertinent for some of you, and you must, I encourage you to tune in every day, you know, to get the best results that you can with us. Poetry, and you have your graphic. In my opinion, the graphic is the easiest of the 3 in section 2, but still it's tricky, and you need to be aware of any errors that may occur, right? So let's just jump quickly into the paper itself. Now, this task here that I am presenting is exactly how task 1 would look. This task here is from spelling. Task 1 deals with spelling. And this is exactly how this task will look in your SEA booklet. The instructions will be such that there will be 2 errors. There will be an error, in each line. Your job is to actually underline that error, and then you have to provide the correct spelling for that error. So you're getting 1 mark for correct error, for pointing out or identifying the correct error, and the second mark will be for the correction of the spelling. And there are 6 items here, so you will notice there are 6 lines, which means there are 6 items, but you are awarded 2 marks per item. So this here is what we are going to do first. What we are going to do, we are going to go through the sample piece. We're going to recognize all the errors, and then I will show you how to correct these errors. And then later on, we are going to do a couple more pieces where I will invite you, the callers, to call in and give us your answers or your take on the paper itself. Any feedback we get, we do appreciate. The program is brand new, and we do encourage all viewers, you know, to give us some feedback. Tell us what you want from the show, what you hope to get out of it, what you and your child would like to see. You know, some of the problem areas and some things that you would like us to focus more on. I know with each student it will be different. So let's move on. So first, in your task 1, what you do is you read your task, and you don't just read it once. You know, sometimes when it's spur of the moment, you want to hurry. You know, you already seen an error there. You want to quickly underline it without reading the entire line. It is important that you read the entire piece twice, and then you get on to answering the questions or identifying the errors or whatever it may be. Take your time, try not to rush. That is important, right? Sometimes we make little errors that can cost us a mark. Do we really want to lose a mark for SEA? You know, every mark really counts here. So let's move on. We have here, I'm just going to read it to you, and you can also read along with me. Technology presents exciting opportunities in the 21st century. This can be witnessed in areas such as music, video, production, and animation. Recently, the Caribbean also experienced an increase in the number of electric vehicles. In the area of innovation, however, the cellular phone wins. Now, I'm just going to give you a minute or so for you to analyze this piece, read it through, and get some thoughts going in your mind, right? I want you to start identifying errors. What I forgot to mention earlier is that it would be quite necessary that you have a piece of paper with you and a pencil so you can make some jottings of important notes that you won't want to miss. And also, if your parent allows you and you have tablets or whatever it is and a notepad on your tablet, you can even use that, right? Nothing is wrong with that. We do encourage technology. It's an age of technology, right? So technology presents exciting opportunities in the. So this is your first line here. This first line, you must look at it closely. Look at the word technology. It's kind of a big word, right? Some of you might think, technology. You might make a mistake here, and you might say, I have an error there. Technology. So you might say T-E-K instead of the C. But that is incorrect. And I will show you later why that is incorrect as we move on to the hard and soft C sounds, right? So technology presents. Do you see anything wrong there? Think about it. Is it correct? Right, let's move on. Exciting, that is correct as well. Opportunities, the word opportunities. This word opportunities, that's our error. This is the error that we have identified for number 1. Now, what is wrong with the word opportunities? Let's see. What should it really be? Okay, so I have to admit my handwriting is not the best on this board here. So that is O-P-P-O-R-T-U-N-I-T-I-E-S. What is different about these two words is that you have Y-S here, and in your plural form you have Y-S, and this is also plural, but you have I-E-S. I will show you what is the problem there as we move along. First, I'm just going to go through this entire paper, detect all errors, and then we're going to go through it step by step. Secondly, 21st century. This can be witnessed in areas. I am just going to tell you here, your error here is witnessed. Can you think about why this is incorrect? So a lot of you would have gotten this correct, I am assuming. Witnessed. It's double S instead of one S. This is a commonly misspelled word. And sometimes it can just be carelessness that you did not detect this error or you spelled it incorrectly here. Now, I would just like to point out, if you identify this as the error here, but then you move on and you spell it incorrectly, you are just going to get 1 mark. You are just going to get the mark for identifying the error. You will lose the mark for correct spelling. All right, let's move on. As music, video, production, and animation. Error here is production. Our suffix shun is commonly used, and we know a lot of words that end with shun, right? So we must know when to use which suffix. So what should it really be? Spell it with me. Great. How many of you got that correct at home? I'm hoping all of you, right? So let's continue. Recently, the Caribbean also experienced an increase in your error here, recently. Can you tell me why this is the error? What is wrong here? Think about it. What is wrong? That's right. Your S here, recently has a C instead of an S. It's a soft C sound, right? Which, again, like I said, we will go through shortly. Let's continue. The number of electric vehicles in the area of. Now, immediately, sometime when you look at this paper, you know something is wrong on this line. It's electric. You know it's wrong, but what is wrong? You must be able to identify electric. in the area of innovation, however, the cellular phone wins. That's your error there, innovation. Your error here was such that you had double N, double N instead of one N. This also is an regularly incorrectly spelled word. Now let's move on to the analysis of this piece. Good. Now this is the same piece that we are going to discuss now and see what is actually going on here. In your first line, you had the word opportunities being your error. Now we corrected that and we have the correct spelling here. We already did that, but what I would like to show you is the rules that apply to the spelling here, this word, the rules that apply to changing the spelling. If we have opportunity as we have there, we have the word opportunity there, and it ends with a Y, and we want to make it plural. What would we do? First, you have to know that if a noun ends with Y and there is a consonant, this is a keyword, consonant before the Y, we change the Y to I and add ES. So let's go again with this rule. If a noun, as in the word opportunity, ends with Y and there is a consonant before the Y, we change the Y to I and add ES. Some other words that are similar to the word opportunity when we are making it plural are supply, country, and enemy. In all of these cases, what do I need to do to make them plural? That is correct. I simply have to change this Y to an I, and then I add my ES. And now I have supplies instead of PPLYES. Notice the difference there, right? That is your difference between a 1 and no marks, right? You must be careful with your spelling there. Similarly with countries and enemies. Of course, for each word, there's also always exceptions to these rules, right? We'll try to go through some of the exceptions, but I don't know how time will permit today. But in the future, if I don't do it today, I will do it. We will go through some of the exceptions to these rules because there always are exceptions, right? And then I have another rule which is similar to this, as I was talking about. If a noun ends with Y and there is a vowel, in this case it's a vowel, before the Y we add S. So if the noun ends with Y and there is a vowel before the Y, we add S. So notice before was a consonant. In this case, it's a vowel. So we have monkey, valley, and trolley. All of these words in the plural form, I will just add S to them. I'm not changing my Y to I, and then I'm not going to add ES. All I am doing is keeping the Y, and then I'm just adding S to it, right? For you to remember this rule, you must practice it. Sometimes we write down a rule in our books, but we don't write the examples associated with the rules. So when it's time to revise, we're having problems remembering, well, I am reading this, but I'm not understanding what I have written. And that's because you haven't written an example. So I suggest that you write an example with each rule that you write. Like here, if you're writing this example, you learn in singular and plural in the spelling, and you want to remember it, write an example or two, and that will help you. I am sure that will help you, right? Great. We are moving on. Secondly, we had the spelling error, witnessed. Witness, as we said before, was a commonly misspelled word that can be carelessness or simply negligence, right? You just didn't remember, or you don't know to double the S or whatever it is. This is a commonly misspelled word. Some other commonly misspelled words that we usually encounter, right? We forget to double the L there. 40. This is very common. Very, very common, right? 40, you should know that there is no U in the correct spelling of the word 40. Truly. Sometimes you're writing, your creative writing, and you want to use the word truly, but you have an E. That's your mistake there. When we are correctly spelling the word truly, we do not have an E. Until, we must know to drop one L there. It should only have one L in the word until. And refer. Refer. Here we have two Fs, but should it be that? No, it shouldn't. One F. Now, these are just some examples for commonly misspelled words. There are many, many examples that I can give you, right? And as we go along, we are going to come across more of them each time. Let's move on. I have the word production. Production. What's wrong with this? Can you tell me the error there? When I say error, I mean the rule that applies to the error, right? So here it's just a matter of adding suffixes to root words, right? So product there will be our root word, and now we want to make it into a noun. So we add the suffix to it, right? We have many suffixes as you have learned throughout your school year so far. So here I'm just going to mention a few that applies to the rules that we are learning today. We have ION and TION. And here I have given examples for each one of these endings, right? So you can associate them with your spelling. And it gives the sound deletion. Notice that sound. And then I have introduction, that shun sound. It's a matter of knowing when to use which suffix, right? And then I have, of course, creation, attention. But notice, this is my ending here. I would have the word create would be my root word. If I'm adding ION, then I'll have to eliminate the E there and add ION to get creation. If I have the word reduction, what is the root word of reduction? Can you think about that? Yes, reduce, right? So reduce and reduction comes from the word reduced. If I want to make it into a noun there, I add my ending, TION. So you must know when to use which suffix. Here I have some more suffixes for you, right, with the same shun sound, like decision. However, Asian. This one here, it's a little tricky. It's not necessarily a suffix, but what I like to do is add it to my list. Because when students are spelling sometimes, this helps them, to come up with the correct form of the word, like the word information. If I have the root word inform, and then I have to add the shun sound, something must come before, and that would be that A, to give it information, right? So it's not necessarily a suffix, but it helps in the learning process with spelling. Good. So then we have the word recently. Recently here, also again, it's a commonly misspelled word, as in the list that we just came across earlier. It's a misspelled word, so you just have to learn to spell the word correctly, right? So form your list, start making your list of words that you have problems with, and start learning them. So if you can learn 3 a day, that will be great, right? On your way to school, during your break time, or coming home from school, have traffic, take out your spelling book, and start learning some spelling, right? It might sound tedious, but trust me, SE is a very short time away, and you have no time to waste. If you wait until 2 weeks before SE, you're going to have some problems. Trust me, you're going to have some problems, right? So we want to get as much work done as we can from now on. We still have some time. Electric. Electric here. All right, let's see what rule applies to the word electric. Now, some of you, well, I'm trusting all of you, know about the hard C and the soft C. Our hard C is followed by the letters A, O, U, right? It gives a K sound. That K is seen there, it's a K sound, known as the hard C. So if I have the word castle, say the word castle at home. How does it sound? Are you hearing that K sound? Or camp? It's a K sound. It's a hard C. So in the word electric, you have to know whether to use the hard C or the soft C, right? And then we have the soft C, of course. When C is followed by E, I, or Y, it gives you a S sound. That S sound is a S sound, known as a soft C. So say the word braces for me. Braces. That's C there. How does it sound to you? Hard or does it sound soft? That's right. It sounds soft. It's a soft C. Braces. Sounds like an S almost, right? That's why it gives you that S sound. So these here are the 2 other rules for you to start writing in your rule book. And write your examples so you can have an idea about what you are learning. Right? And the last one. So let's quickly do this one. Innovation. The spelling rule here is such that same as witnessed and recently. It's a commonly misspelled word. It's a matter of adding 2 N's or doubling the N rather than 1 N. And we also know the rule where if there's a vowel before, then you will double the next letter. But now that doesn't always apply. Like I said, we always have our exceptions. So here is just a commonly misspelled word, a tricky one I might add. So add it to your spelling book. Okay, so here's the real deal now. We are going to start with a sample paper. And I'm just going to give you an opportunity shortly to call in and probably assist me with the errors. So we can probably open up the lines and let's examine this piece here. The Roxborough market was bustling with various activities. A vendor was arguing with a lady who had substantial quantity of plantains in her basket. It was an invigorating debate to witness. As I sauntered in further, the familiar scent of fish impacted my senses, so I moved forward excitedly. Now, the spelling errors that you are seeing here are similar to those that we experienced earlier, where you would have to apply the rules that I just went through to these spelling errors, right? So like the soft C, the hard C, or whether you are just adding ing and you need to drop the E or whatever it is, right? So you need to look at it carefully and then answer it. So we have a caller on the line there. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, welcome to C Results. What's your name?
I'd like to answer number 1, please.
Sure, but before we get into that, can you just give me your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Adrian, and I am calling from Rochelle, Barrackport.
Adrian, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So Adrian, for number 1, identify the error for me and give me the correct spelling.
Okay, so the error is bustling because it has an E. It's supposed to be B-U-S-T-L-I-N-G.
Excellent job. Excellent job there. So if I'm adding the inflectional ending ing, I will drop that E over there to make it B-U-S-T-L-I-N-G. Very well done, Adrian, and thank you for that. Great job there. Let's continue on. Activities. A vendor was arguing with a lady who, right? What's your error there? Are you seeing anything familiar to what we just did in the earlier example? Look at it closely. Have your pencil and your paper. Start writing. So I'm just going to move on with this one here. The lines are still open. Feel free to call in and assist us. Oh, we have a call on the line. Hello, good afternoon. I'm not sure if we lost that one.
Hi, good afternoon. I would like to answer number 2. Please.
Sure, just give me your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Maran Diaz, and I'm calling from Arima.
Arima, great. And help me out here for number 2. What's my problem?
Okay, the Y, you have to drop the Y and add I.
Say that again?
You have to drop the Y and replace it with an I.
Very good. So spell it for me.
It's A-C-T-I-V-I.
Yeah?
V-I-T.
I'm not sure if I'm hearing it well. A-C-T-I-V-I-T.
A-C-T-I-V-I-T-I-E-S.
Excellent job. Before you go, caller, one question. Can you tell me where Roxborough is?
Actually, I have no idea.
That's in Tobago, right? So hopefully you can visit soon. Right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for calling. Good. So we have the word activities here. And similarly to opportunities, we drop the Y and you add IES to form the plural of the word activity. Great. Let's move on. Had a substantial quantity of plantains in her basket. Substantial. Call on the line. Hello, good afternoon.
Good day, yeah.
What's the name and where you're calling from?
Hello.
Hi, afternoon. Welcome.
My name is Adrian. I'm from afternoon.
Is this Adrian from Rocha Douglas? Hello?
Suparia, sorry.
Suparia. Okay, great. So can you answer number 3 for me, please?
Okay. The error is substantial.
Right. And give me the correct spelling.
The correct spelling is SUBSTANTIAL.
Great. Don't go yet. One question. How are you enjoying the program thus far?
Sorry, what was that?
How are you enjoying the program thus far?
Good.
Good. And do you see yourself benefiting from this?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks for calling in and thanks so much for the feedback. Right, so he is very correct there. Substantial is our error and it's actually TIL. That shell sound is exactly SHAL. Shell. It's not like what we would imagine it to be. It's rather TIAL there. Let's move on. It was an invigorating debate to witness as I sauntered. Now, think about it, underline it on your piece of paper. Which is the error here? Can you identify the word that is incorrectly spelled? I am sure you can. And if you had this, you are very correct, right? Call on the line again. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, what's the name and where you're calling from?
The error.
Would you like to give me your name?
My name is Juliana Sanders.
Okay, and where are you calling from? Hello?
Pitty Valley.
Okay, and one question before you answer me. Are you writing SEA next year?
Yes.
Okay, and how is that shaping up for you? Are you ready or getting ready?
Yes.
Which one, getting ready or ready?
I'm ready.
Ready, great job, man. All right, so help me out with the answer here. Spell it for me.
I-N.
Yeah.
I-N.
Yeah.
V-I.
Yeah.
G-O.
Good so far?
R-A.
Mm-hmm.
T-I-N-G.
Excellent job. Really good job there. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So what I would like to just mention here, the caller took their time when they were spelling this word. Now that's very important. If you're unsure about the spelling of the word, take your time and break it up into syllables, and that will help you very much, okay? So that's a great point that you brought across there. Let's move on. In further, the familiar scent of fish. What's your error there? In further, the familiar scent of fish. Is there anything wrong with the word scent? Call on the line. Hello, good afternoon. Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to See Results. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Saeed.
Saeed. Hi, Saeed. Where are you calling from?
Columbia.
Are you writing SCA next year?
No.
Okay, what class are you in?
Standard 4.
It was very good to have you with us, okay? And we hope to keep you here with us until you are in Standard 5 and write the C exam. So let's go. Number 5. What's the error there?
Familiar.
Familiar. You are correct. Can you spell it for me?
Yes. S-A-M-I-L-I-A-R.
Great job. I hope you keep up the good work, okay? Keep working. Thank you for calling us. Okay, so we have some really brilliant callers thus far, right? I really appreciate the help. And let's move on to the last line there. Impacted my senses, so I move forward excitedly. Can you identify that error there for me? If you had impacted, you are correct. Now, what's wrong with the word impacted? Say the word impacted for me. Impacted. What sound are you getting? Are you getting a hard C sound, or is that a soft C sound? Call on the line. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi. What's your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Belvedere. My name is Josiah.
Hi, Josiah. Question here. I have already highlighted for you that impacted is the error. Can you tell me why impacted is the error?
It have a K instead of a C.
That's correct. And have you been watching all along, or have you just tuned in?
I've been watching all along.
Right. So this K here seems to be our error. Can you tell me from the rules that we went through before, what is the problem with this K? Is it a hard K sound, or is it a soft C sound? Sorry, hard C or soft C sound?
A soft K.
A soft?
Yes.
Right. So just remember, when we're getting this K sound, it's the hard C sound, right? So impacted should really have a C there, but you are quite correct in that it should be a C. So can you spell it for me?
I-M-P-A-C-T-E-D.
Excellent job. The word impacted. Here, thank you for calling us. Stay tuned with us, okay? So the word impacted here, impacted, that K sound, it sounds like a hard C, but you need to know when to use your hard C and your soft C. So let's just quickly go through what we have done so far. We have the word bustling, where we had to drop the E when adding the inflectional ending ing. You had the word activities to make it plural. Instead of leaving the Y, you have to drop the Y and add IES. Substantial. It's a matter of you using the correct suffix and spelling it correctly. So we use TIAL rather than SHAL. Invigorating. And this here, how I would pronounce it with E, it will be invigorating, but it's actually invigorating, right? So you need to know to use I instead of that E there. Familiar, it's just a commonly misspelled word. You need to know how to spell the word familiar. So get yourselves familiar with that word, okay? Impacted, we just discussed this one with the hard C and the soft C. So if you're not familiar with that rule, please get acquainted with it and start using the rule to help you with your spelling, right? And as the caller rightfully said, impacted with a C rather than a K. Okay, so I'm just going to take a short pause and I'll be right back.
Keep refreshed with Oasis Premium Purified Water. Now available in more thirst-quenching options. 330 ml, 600 ml, 1.5 liter, and 5 liters. Choose the size that fits you best. Grab one today.
Need medical assistance? Come check us out at Ultimate Medical Clinic. We offer a wide variety of medical treatments. Why live in pain and suffer with wounds and ulcers?
Ultimate Medical Clinic also provides laser therapy for pain relief and wound healing.
We also treat arthritis, knee, neck pains, diabetic neuropathy, diabetic foot sores, psoriasis, eczema, and many more health conditions. Call us today to schedule your appointment, 665-1188, or visit us at 111A John Street, Montrose, Chaguanas.
I'm a cool kid, you're a cool kid, we are cool kids, are you a cool kid? Every day I want it, I need to drink lots of it, full of fruit, vitamin C, give me lots of it. My imagination is growing and so am I. I'm getting big, so give me fruit of cool kids, it's so juicy, so I could touch the sky.
Become a Cool Kid now by visiting www.fruitycoolkids.com.
Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, and thanks for joining me back right here on C Results. Now, if you're just tuning in, you've missed quite a lot, right? So I encourage you to go back on the live feed and see if you can replay it. We did some interesting work, some really helpful tips so far. We had some really great callers calling in to give us feedback and to answer our questions. What we are doing here, we are doing task 1 of the SEA ELA paper. So that is the spelling aspect of the paper. So today we are going through various spelling rules that students have some problems with, right? So you need to familiarize yourselves with these spelling rules and start using them in your writing. So let's continue. We are going to continue here with this last sample piece. After the sample piece, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to explain to you about our Edmodo page. Now, if it's the first you're hearing of the Edmodo page, it's an educational app where you, the parent and the child, will be able to log on, create an account, and access our quizzes. So there will be quizzes for mathematics, ELA, and possibly creative writing. And you would be able to take the quiz and be assessed immediately. So you will get your mark right after the quiz. It is very encouraging, and especially for the students who love technology and you want a chance to use your smartphone or tablet with your parents' supervision. Here's a chance for you to do so, right? You can just access the website and do our quiz. So back to this piece here. Let's continue. So again, we are going to read our piece twice, and then we are going to do this piece here. So let's read. People believe that agriculture science is A. Now, I'm just going to tell you here, this is your error. Now, I know I did not do the spelling rule as yet, but I will do it shortly. Here, the rule, well, we're going to open up the phone line, so if anybody want to tell me what the rule is or how you remember to spell the word believe, I will appreciate that, right? So in that time, while they're doing that, I'm just going to inform you the rule is such that I before E except after C. Now, that's a rule there. That's a rule there that we sometimes forget. But here is an easy way to remember. You can make it like a rhyme. I before E except after C. Now, with this rule here, there's a lot of exceptions. Okay, we have a call on the line. I'm just going to take this. Good afternoon. Good evening. Welcome to C Results.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi. I'd like to answer number 1, please.
Sure.
Believe.
Yes, believe is the error there.
The error is it's supposed to be I-E, it's B-E-L-I-E-V-E.
Okay, that's correct, but don't go as yet. Just can you tell me, how do you remember to spell the word believe if you know it's I-E rather than E-I? How do you remember it?
I just sound it out and just spell it.
Right, so you're a champion speller, so you don't have to come up with a rule or anything. You just remember it, right? That's great, right? Thank you so much for calling us.
You're welcome.
But for those of you who may not remember how to spell believe, right, here's how the rule goes. I before E except after C. Now, this is a really tricky one, a rule that is, because there are lots of exceptions with this rule, right? I will try to give you some exceptions later on. But here for now, I before E, and what I mean by I before E is that the I is literally before the letter E, as in the word believe, face, die, or friend. And when they say I before E except after C, it means that now your I is first and then you have, your E is first and then you have I, as in the word receive, sealing, and receipt, right? So this rule is a little tricky, but practice makes perfect. Let's go back now. Second line says valuable subject which motivates students to tend. What is your error there? I hope you're writing the correction in your books. Valuable is your error there, right? It should really be valuable without the E, You simply just drop that E there. It's a matter of knowing how to spell this word when you're adding the suffix able, able. Hello, good afternoon, caller.
Valuable.
Yes, valuable. Okay, but since you're on the line, let's go with number 3. I'm going to give you a chance to do number 3, right? So let's read that. To animals and crops as an eager agri-scientist. I think I lost that caller there. Well, just giving him a chance to answer number 3 as we already did. Number 2, right? So that line again says, to animals and crops as an eager agri-scientist, you will. What's your error there? Look at each word closely and try to figure out what is going on, right? So I'm just going to tell you, it's eager. Eager is E-A-G-E-R, not A-R, but rather E-R, okay? So you have to know when to use that E-R there. Understand the benefits of cultivating crops. We have the verb cultivating there. Now, when you're adding ing to some words, you're adding the inflectional ending ing, you drop that E, as you have seen in the previous example with bustling, right? So we have cultivating. All right, moving on there. And rearing livestock. I wonder how many of you and your families rear livestock at home, right? It's a really interesting job. I would enjoy it. We have the word rearing livestock. Rearing. Here, this word here also comes from the word rear, except this is not the rear that we would want to use over here, right? Good. You will participate in collaborative activities. This word participate here, say the word participate, right? This S sound here, this S sound that you are getting there, that's actually your soft C sound. So like I said, the soft C sound gives you that S sound, but you have to know it's a soft C. So you have to know it's the letter C rather than the letter S there. So it should be participate. Great, right? So I hope you took note of this. And if you got any of these 6 incorrect here, I urge you to add it to your spelling list and start learning these words. These are very common words. Even if you don't get it in the spelling section, you might use it in your creative writing, right? So I encourage you once again, start learning to spell them correctly. Okay. Now, before we run out of time, what I would like to do is just show you the Edmodo page. And if we have some time, I'm just going to go back to your spelling exercise, right? But before we run out of time, I want to show you this. This is really important. It's a very great part of the show, right? The program, the SCA program. This is how you can get your practice on board, and this is how you can show us what you have been learning thus far, right? So the Edmodo program, like I was saying, it's educational, right? It's both for the students and the parents. So students have the chance to make an account for themselves as well as the parents. This here is the instructions to accessing your account, right? How to make an account. This is available on our Facebook SCA results page. You will find this same picture with the results. You can follow the steps and you can create the account for your child. On if you would like to do one for yourself, parents, nothing is wrong with that. Keep abreast of what is happening, what your child is doing, right? But let's just try to encourage supervision here. And it's really very beneficial to you and your child. All right, so the Edmodo app is just www.edmodo.com. It's here, it's right here, www.edmodo.com, and you will be able to access the app. And you can also download the app, right? So you go into Play Store and you can download that app there for easy access. Great. So before I move on, what I'd like to mention is under our SCA results page where we have this picture, if you are having any difficulties at all, you can just comment and we will be able to assist you immediately, right? And we also like on that same page, our Facebook page, give us your feedback. You know, positive criticism is welcome. Tell us what you would like to hear, what you want to see, and you know, some of the things you like us to discuss on this program, because this is all about getting your children ready for SEA 2020, soon April 2nd, right? Okay. Good. So let's just probably do one more, and then we'll close up for today. So the lines are still open. If you want to give yourself a chance, see how you're progressing, you're free to do so, okay? So let's read. Most organisms have adapted to survive. Your error here, survive, right? Survive, that R there. Sounds almost silent. But when it's how you pronounce it too. Hi, good afternoon, caller.
Which one is it? For number 2.
Yeah, you can answer number 2, no problem with that. Caller, are you there?
Hello?
Hi, what's your name and where are you calling us from?
Zane from Princeton.
Okay, and number 2 there says a popular adaptation is mimicry. This is when? Can you identify for me the error in line 2?
Mimicry.
Mimicry. Any other options there that you might have a problem with? That if you see this line in your book? That might be one option. What other word there might give you problem? A problem.
Adaptation.
It is actually adaptation. So this is correct. This is actually correct, the choice of word. But I would like you to attempt to spell this word for me. Can you try?
A-D-A.
A-D-A-P.
T. I-O-N.
All right. You want to try again? Something is missing there. Can you lower the volume, please, on your set, if it's possible?
A-T-I-O-N.
A-T-I-O-N. Thank you so much, caller. Okay, so that is very correct there, although the first attempt was incorrect. Now, nothing is wrong with that. Absolutely nothing is wrong with making a mistake. Mistakes are how part of learning, right? And here's also the time to make mistakes, right? You have now until April 1st to make mistakes, but let's not try to cut it so close. So adaptation is mimicry. And I'm just going to do all this quickly because time is against us. So that's it for the phone lines today, but I do appreciate all the calls. An animal has markings or other physical. The error here is physical. And a lot of you would know how to spell this word physical because you have physical education in your school, and I know students love physical education. So this is a subject on your timetable and you are very familiar with that word, okay? Characteristics, so that it resembles some other. The word resembles. Now it sounds like B-E-L-S. I do agree, it sounds like that. But the correct spelling is actually B-L-E-S in the word resembles. Animal or plant that is more, this here. How will you pronounce this as it is? It sounds like dangerous. But is it that? Is that correct? No, it is not. We know the correct spelling and pronunciation of this word is such as this here, E-R-O-U-S, and it's actually pronounced dangerous, okay? So please do not make that mistake in your spelling. This is truly fascinating. This is a truly fascinating trick. Your error here, truly. Like I mentioned before, this is a commonly misspelled word. And it should actually be T-R-U-L-Y. No E there, right? So I almost wrote an E. But it's no E in the word, truly. Right? I hope today's session has been very beneficial to you and you have learned a lot. And you have actually took note of all the rules that we discussed so far. Right? And you apply it to your everyday learning. Maybe you have siblings who are going to write SEA next year. And you can assist them with this because now you are learning. and you can assist them by learning. You can probably be the teacher, right? I used to like to play teacher game when I was small, so maybe you can probably try that. Teach your siblings, your friends, your cousins, all of you can probably come together and have a study session, have a study party every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Tune in together right here on See Results, you know. Form a study group. Help each other learn. That's one learning strategy. Group learning is very helpful. I have found it helpful over my years, right? But like I said, each student differs. Before I go, I would just like to leave you with a tip. Now, this tip here is a learning strategy that will help you with your spelling. So we have use humor to help you improve your spelling. Humor is like comedy, right? So use comedy to help you improve your spelling. Now you're wondering, how can I do that? Now you can do that. A lot of you might be, you know, you like to make jokes. You're actually funny, you have a funny side, and that might help you to learn. So here, in this case, I have flee and flee. You can use this in your writing, the homophones flee and flee. Now what's funny about this? Here, for me, to remember F-L-E-A, I will draw a dog's head. There, that looks like an A, right? I have the word flee, and I know that's a flea on an animal, like you are seeing there. That's how I will remember it. And then flee here, you're seeing people running. Flee actually means to leave, right? To get out, to go away, to flee a scene. And here's an easy way to remember it. You have people facing that direction, running, right? So I encourage you to come up with creative ways to help yourself, you know. What in and out of the classroom, it might be difficult for you. You have lessons very early in the morning. Some of you stay inside lunchtime to finish work. After school, you have lessons, right? So try your best and come up with ways that will make learning easy for you. And parents, you can do the same. Try to make learning easy for your child. Assist them in any way possible, right? Okay, folks. So I'm almost out of time for today, right? So once again, before I go, I just want to remind you about the Edmodo page. And please tune in, right, tomorrow at 5 again. And give us your feedback, and we would really appreciate it. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. Do have a pleasant afternoon.
Chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink them more healthy ways.